I'm Brenda Morrow. I am an assistant professor of practice and I teach in the interior architecture department in Purdue in Indianapolis. What excites me about this program is we are very focused in the technology end of it. We bring the creative end to it, but technology is what drives this program. And the students that seem to come to this program are looking for that more architectural interior technology base. And it excites me to be teaching here in that when they start, I get to teach from that freshman year up through that senior year, and to see how they connect that knowledge and grow and start to truly understand this industry. The light bulb moments really excite me. Bringing my professional experience in is really critical. I've been in this industry for over 30 years, and it's so important to bring true real-world project examples to students so that they are really connecting in with understanding this industry. And so I do that with whatever assignment or project I bring in is either based in a reality or actual real projects. I still work in the industry, so I feel it's important to bring in my knowledge of manufacturers, those industry reps that will come in and be part of the conversation with students. I may bring in existing projects so they can start to understand who are these stakeholders and let's critique why were decisions made this way. So again, aligning real world with philosophies and the concepts that they are learning and how do they integrate those. I feel it's very important to continue to be involved in that industry and to work in that industry so that you are staying on top of all the new technology, all the new products. So what I do typically is I typically have clients that I consult with, and it may be anything from residential to commercial. It oftentimes is during my off-season time, but it is still keeping my finger on the pulse of what's going on currently in the industry. The technology and bringing it to these students and keeping them up to speed on that is so important. We start day one. These students that freshman year, they are introduced to kind of these basic technology software programs, but it's our goal that it's so important then for them to understand all the new technology, whether it's 3D printing, whether it's AI, whatever is going on, so that they can further develop kind of their spatial organization understanding, their technical documentation understanding, and once they hit that senior year and they've been able to develop that, I see a lot of where they are now able to bring that to the table for a future employer, and that's very important. So they have an understanding, they have some skills at it, and they're understanding where the future's going. So that freshman year is really introducing them to interior architecture and the design world and industry, and many come in with different ideas of what that is. So we not only, as I mentioned, bring in that technology, we also are doing a lot of the art and hands-on design aspects. So that beginning understanding of how hand drafting or color and theory are all the basis, right, of what they're going to be learning. So they start at that point and then continue to grow into that expectations of taking those theories and implementing them to the next level in each studio class. Well, examples of projects are really impactful. It goes back to real world, right? If we can bring in a community-based project or a real world project, it's really important because that's where they start to get those light bulb moments. A project that comes to mind that I had incorporated was an actual hospital, local hospital, where our seniors in their research evidence design class were able to work with that healthcare unit and design a space that was meant to provide respite, look at human factors and end results for positive outcomes. And so they were able to come from the beginning of the design process, programming and working with the client, and interviewing them, and site verification, which is really, a big part of our world, and then developing that design into a final design and documentation that that client could then take and implement. So they learn all these theories, they learn all these technical aspects, but how do you actually implement it with different stakeholders? Anytime we can do that, it's very important. One of the preconceived ideas a lot of students come into this program with, that, oh, it's about the home. It is. We discuss that there's a lot of issues with that. But our industry, we really are focused on, and our program focuses on more those public interior environments. It's so important for people to understand, and as a entry-level designer, to understand that there's so much more that needs to go into that design than just selecting finishes and the aesthetic portion of that. It is about understanding humans, understanding their physical needs, understanding their mental health needs, and then how are you creating solutions that then can improve those. So every step of the way in our program, those concepts are discussed. So whether it's healthcare, whether it is commercial offices, educational spaces, large government projects. I did a lot of government work in my earlier career, so how are interior architects into the design world interacting with those issues and those types of industries? This industry, there are so many job opportunities that a student may not even realize. So whether it's interior architecture where you're doing the interior portions, then there's things such as lighting design. You can specialize in lighting. You can specialize in areas like even the residential area, kitchen and bath design. You can get into the actual manufacture and branding aspect and marketing aspect. So there are many different directions students could take, and it's very important that we expose them to those different portions of our industry. Well, my teaching philosophy is, in this industry, I set the classroom up like a design studio. I think it's very important that students very quickly have to understand how to develop their listening skills, how to develop their critical thinking skills, how to be able to accept feedback and critique and communicate and share ideas. So yes, whether we most of the time have real world type hands-on activities, it's helping them get comfortable with, how do I evaluate a solution and how do I provide a rationale for that solution based in my knowledge? And that's how it is in the real world, and they need to be very comfortable being able to have those conversations back and forth. Well, working with students in the classroom and making sure they're understanding that multidisciplinary industry can come about twofold. Team projects are important so that they're understanding that may not always doing one particular portion that they're assigned, and they got to collaborate on that. But it also goes back to those real world projects. If we can grab, and we try to do often, a project where there is a professional architect involved, a possibly structural engineer involved, a product manufacturer that you are needing to work with involved, so that the decisions these students are making within their designs is impacted by those conversations. So we try to bring that in to that classroom setting whenever we can. When students start this program, it's very important for them to understand that the classroom setting is where they're honing their skills. And talking about those listening and communication skills and how that classroom setting is going to set them up for success. And we'll also really encourage them, although this program requires them to do an internship or a co-op, we encourage more than one. It's very important. This industry has multiple types of directions they can go. And the more experience they get, whether that's in an internship or a summer job, expose yourself to those. They will grow, right, immensely when they can have those experiences. Also to expose themselves to the world. To the world and design. Study abroad opportunities. We have wonderful study abroad opportunities so that they can expand their knowledge and their view of the world. And then we also really encourage and try to connect our students with the professional industry organizations. IIDA, ASID, so important so that they can understand where those professional connections will come from as they start to move into the industry. Well, what I have found here in Indianapolis with the Purdue degree, we are right in the heart of an urban setting. We constantly have professionals in our industry reaching out to us. So there are opportunities to get those experiences, to get those internships, to get to go to sites. It's happening here in the Indianapolis area. So I feel that is one of our just major positive aspects for students. And our program is a very tight-knit program. Our students really come together and support each other. You'll find it in the studio setting, you'll find it as they're helping each other with learning new technology. I've just found that they really hone in together and become a unit to support each other. So our students they're industry ready day one. And the reason for that is the experiences that they're getting through the real world projects they do, through their opportunities to have those internships from day one, and to also with the technology that we're bringing to the table, it is current what the industry is needing. We are a visual industry and an industry that needs to communicate. So our students are ready to jump into those professional opportunities, internships, job right after college with those skills. My hope for this program is that it just continues to grow. The location is ideal. The students that we pull from locally, statewide, internationally, just bring to the table a really wonderful cohort of individuals. So my goal is that it continues to grow. We continue to be a leader in bringing that technology and critical and design thinking skills to the industry and preparing those students. To me personally, being able to establish a relationship with these students, which I do from the day they walk in to the day they walk across the stage to get that diploma and beyond, it's very satisfactory to me to know that we are setting them up for success, and we're not leaving them. It has been a personal blessing for me to continue to watch their careers grow. I'm into the industry, and 5 years later we'll be meeting up and seeing students that went through this program and just taking the lead in the industry. It is very exciting, and it is what I'm here to do, is to help them get to that next level. So as students come into this program, and they're starting to understand what this is all about, starting to see them take those small steps of knowledge, continue to grow, and then they have these giant leaps where they are now in that industry. And there's several examples of students where I have personally seen them grow beyond even maybe what we thought as they came into this program. One in particular, a young woman, was named the top 30 under 30 by a national organization. Always reaching out. Students always reach back out to know if, hey, can I come back and contribute? Those are big moments because they're wanting to give back, and they know what this program did for them, and they're wanting to contribute back to that. Many, many students who started out questioning if they're going in the right direction, and then jumping and going into doing amazing things in their careers.